Welcome to Weekend Gardening with your host, the Empress of Everything Green, Nellie Neal. Garden Mama's on the radio now to answer your questions and call you.
There's a blast from the past. Welcome to the Garden Mama Show. As you can tell, things are a little different today. I have a couple of things to say, but mostly I just want to let you know that I did write a note about that. When you start to sum up what you do in any job, it's always more than you thought when you started the list. So don't worry about it. We'll get it right for the next hour. I'm not worried about it. Today, dear friends, we say goodbye and adios to a one-of-a-kind friend, our querido hermano. That would be, of course, the producer of this program and so many more things at SuperTalk, the one and only Lance. He was our dear brother in broadcasting. He was our dear brother in the world. The best dog daddy you ever saw in your life. And yes, his dog is fine, not to worry. A lot of people have sent me notes and asked me about that. But I'm just here to tell you that loss is a part of life, okay? We don't get to live without having loss. And when someone dies, the more you love them, the more you care, the more it hurts. So what I'm saying to you now is, don't worry. Don't worry. Every day gets better. Every day gets more comfortable in your own set of feelings about it, as long as you remember this one thing. Do not be sad that they have died. Be happy. Celebrate that you were able to know that person and that you were able to live at the same time they did and that you were able to love them. And with that, we move on into the morning here on the Garden Mama Show. Guess what? We got people in the house. That's right. Our big boss, Will, is here. I imagine he has about a 2-gallon cup of coffee because he works too much anyway. And he's going to make sure that we get going with our new, frankly, our not so new, but new to us, Minister of Mayhem around here. Caleb is here because guess what? He's going to be here as long as he can stand me. So y'all be nice. We don't want to run him off too quickly. We'll be taking your texts. We'll be taking your phone calls. We do have an interview today, and Peaches Patrick will be in the 9 o'clock hour. So it's a big day here on the Garden Mama Show, and I really, really appreciate you joining me. First of all, let me tell you, first text this morning, and it is right on time. This is from, who is this? This is Walt. Yeah, this is Walt in New Albany. Yes, Walt, it's an armyworm, and yes, they will eat your tomato plants. He says, this caterpillar is eating my tomato plants, but it doesn't have any horns. It's like, yeah, it looks like an armyworm. Yeah, it is an armyworm. And they will eat anything around. It's the same thing as sort of grasshoppers. They have their preferences, but if they're hungry enough, your tomatoes are definitely in their way. So that's where we're at on that. I wanted to tell you just a little bit about Caleb. Caleb does multimedia news here and 100 other things, but he is the heartbeat of Friday nights on SuperTalk, and you will continue to have his company there, of course. Welcome him, please. Be nice to him. We don't want to lose him. He's our minister of all this mayhem, and you know we have a lot of mayhem to create and to cope with around this place, this being the Garden Mama Show. Thank you very much for that very sweet text. Appreciate it. One of the things that's going on today in this world is you got to get ready because we got a giveaway. I know, she never gives anything away. Well, today we're going to be able to give away 2 copies of Jim Long's new book. And so if you're interested in it, by all means, send me a text, get on the line and call Caleb and tell him put your name in the box, and at the end of the show we'll tell you who won, okay? He'll be here at 8:30, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm happy to tell you we have so many... When you do something, you know, if you have a professional association and you do something for a living that you really love, like writing about gardening, writing about horticulture, you get a chance to meet other people that are similarly minded. And Jim Long, the author we're going to get a chance to interview today, is one of those people. I would go to the end of the earth for him, and I'm happy to tell you that he has... He would likely be doing other things if he wasn't on a book tour right now, too, because he has a very, very busy life. Oh my goodness. Y'all are being so sweet. Thank you, Nathan. Yeah, there's a lot there. That's great. Appreciate y'all so much. Oh, there you go. Now there's the ginger. Jeff and Brenda in Hattiesburg. I need to come steal some of that, y'all. Mine has one little tiny sprout on it. But it's alive, I'm glad to say. It didn't do too well over the springtime. I don't know exactly what happened. Anyway, so we'll be looking at all of those texts all during today, of course. One of the things I want to make sure you know about today is that it is International Cat Day, and I didn't send any pictures of cats. So probably next week we're going to celebrate International Cat Day. It brings me to my annual meeting of the minds, I hope. There are plenty of serious gardeners out there who will tell you you cannot have a cat, you cannot let a cat into your yard, they will kill the birds, they will do this, they will do that. They will use your raised bed as a litter box. I mean, there's a lot of reasons. That's why you have to raise your cats. Or you can keep them indoors, or you can make sure that the neighbor's cats know that you have one cat that's taking care of business and not going to let them come in and mess up your garden. We are going to have cats, and cats are naturally, certainly slightly predacious. I'm happy to say I've had one or two that liked voles, and that was very handy for me because I had a lot of voles at the time. But it is also true that they are a source of great love and affection, and many times, and sometimes frustration too. So it is International Cat Day. We don't send the pictures today. We'll send them next week because I didn't pull all that together. So of course, in the national order of things, that means that it is also Odie Day. Now, for those of you who may have been asleep, Odie, of course, is Garfield's dog. And Garfield, I've never had a cat that liked lasagna, but I have had some that would eat pretty much anything else. So we'll just have to see if that turns into something in this world today. Put on your calendar, the Perseid meteor shower is going to peak on the night of August 12th. It's going to be as good for us in the deep south as it is in, say, the northeast, and there's an eclipse as well going on, but you will see and hear a lot about it, so you might want to just pay attention and go and visit. Maybe go visit somebody. There's 2 eclipses in 1 month, which is pretty crazy. Total solar eclipse also there on August the 12th, which is the same day as the new moon. So it will cross Greenland and then Iceland and Spain, but it'll be very low on the horizon in all those places. So partial eclipse will be visible from North America, and I kind of like those better anyway. They make better photographs when it looks like, the moon's taking a bite out of things, the sun's taking a bite out of things. I like that. I think that's kind of cool. About 96% of the moon's diameter will be immersed in the Earth's shadow at that point, so the whole thing's going to look kind of coppery or kind of red. That's really cool. Fun stuff. The first total solar eclipse coming into Europe in 1999 is going to happen. That's that one. And then along the path of totality, it's going to be pretty impressive there. So if you have friends that are visiting in Europe, as a lot of people do, we seem to be having a whole lot of people got to Europe this month, in my feed anyway, probably yours too. Some I don't even know, but it's pretty to see. I always like looking at good architecture, seeing what's going on. Thank you, Andrea. Appreciate you very, very much. Oh, Kenneth in Starkville. The deer ate the plant, but the peppers didn't care. They're still making. It is a little odd. It looks like the pepper plant, though, honestly, that some people try to grow, Kenneth. They don't get as full of growth as we do, but they still get peppers, and you have got some peppers. That's really cool. Got some zinnias in there, too. Very nice. Very nice. Thanks for letting us know about that. I appreciate that. So many crazy things going on in our world today. This is a headline I actually had to say out loud yesterday. Hold on to your hat, but Earth's molten core has suddenly reversed direction. What? What? I didn't even know it could do that. Well, neither did a lot of us, apparently. The European Space Agency has published in the Journal of Studies of Earth's Deep Interior. Did you know that was a publication? Oh my goodness. This started happening at the end of the last century, but now has gotten dramatic enough that they can actually measure and worry about it a little bit in terms of what's next, because we don't actually know. But apparently it's part of a mysterious natural cycle, like so many things. If we hadn't seen it yet, we don't know it exists, and we human beings are innately curious. We're trying to figure it out. We're trying to see what's there. So what we have to understand, though, is that liquid iron, of course, in the Earth's outer core, this is not the single knot in the middle, but that outer core that also holds everything together. That particular issue is what we're looking at. It behaves in surprising ways. Don't you like that from a scientific publication? Scientists discovered that a large flow of molten material beneath the Pacific Ocean changed directions, and they used both satellite data as well as other kinds of in the ocean type measurements to figure out how this happened, to get a grip on it. We don't know why. We don't know why. But it's pretty fun, though, to think about something like that being able to happen and us not even know about it. We human beings are kind of limited in what we know, aren't we? Pretty cool. I have been reading a lot about controlled burns. I want to talk about that a little bit today, but I really want to focus as well. I mean, we got so much to do in the garden right now. Let's talk about lettuce for just a moment. Lettuce is, I'm going to say, lettuce is our friend. But lately, it's not been everybody's friend. And what we have learned in this particular outbreak is not only that you need to be careful where you get your food, but that you can't always tell if your food is safe. That's why, quite frankly, and I've said it forever, that everybody needs to grow a little something to eat, because then you're aware of what it takes to prepare food for you to eat. You don't have as much trouble understanding how hard life could be on a farm because you're over here struggling with one squash plant maybe, or something like that. You get a sense of empathy. You get that important relationship with how people grow the food, and thank goodness they do. But you also can avoid the whole business of shipping from one place to the other, harvesting in vast amounts and sending things from place to place, where there are so many possibilities of contamination. We're very fortunate when we're able to find them out ahead of time. Unfortunately, this time we've now got salmonella running, as well as we've got cyclospora. So please think about growing a little bit of your food. Maybe you don't even like lettuce. Okay, then how about green beans? How about some other produce that you like to eat that you can grow in the fall? Beets and carrots and every kind of mustard greens and turnip greens and all of these things. Not only are they tastier when they come out of your yard, because you're harvesting them much sooner than you could possibly get them through any other way, but it's also true that it's good for you. It gets you not only in touch with how the growing process works, but it gets you out in the yard every day, gets you out there to take care of things, gets you to keep on a little bit of a schedule, not too firm. I'm not telling you got to have a grow plan, although you certainly can. But I want you to be aware that there's a lot of things that you can do to avoid this. You don't have to just quit eating lettuce. I've heard so many people say, well, there goes lettuce. No, it doesn't. No, it really, truly doesn't. What goes is our lack of awareness about what it takes to grow food, and our lack of awareness about what it takes to put things into a truck and send them from here to there or to a box or whatever. I'm still going to tell you that your local growers, your local farmers at your farmers market, in your neighborhood, in your town, in your county, are going to be the best places to go. And I realize I certainly can't grow everything I want to eat. But on the other hand, the more that I can get locally and grow a little bit myself, the better off we're all going to be. And frankly, the better you're going to feel about things. This is basic horticulture. Horticulture, we grow plants, ladies and gentlemen, not just to eat them. Sometimes it is just to eat them, but not just to eat them, but particularly because we want to be able to appreciate what's going on around us. We want to be able to eat them, but we also get all the benefits of having that beautiful situation happening for us, having the opportunity to see things grow, to fertilize them, to care for them, and to make them our own. So it's real important. Basic horticulture therapy, of course, works on the principle. The first lecture that I ever had on this subject, I was very happy to hear that I was not the only person that enjoyed working with plants because they don't talk back. And that's, you do what's right for them. You figure out what's right for them. You talk to me, you talk to somebody else, you go to your neighbors, you get a book, whatever you do. But you do what's right for the plants, and the plants are going to reward you with production, whether it's flowers or, whatever food you're trying to grow. Or it may just be grasses and trees like in the background today. If you're looking in on us at SuperTalk.tv, and I hope you are, you're seeing a photo of sunrise the other morning on the Ross Barnett Reservoir by my friend CJ. She has a brilliant eye, and I really enjoy the way that she captures the sky and the res and things. It's really fun. So, of course, you can always send me your pictures that you'd like me to use on the green screen, mamaonair@yahoo.com. We'll be seeing a bunch of pictures this morning, including some about the interview that we're giving, and some, of course, for the next hour with Mark. So we've got a whole lot going on in the visual part. Be sure and put supertalk.tv in your world. One of the things about growing lettuce, and why I start there, I guess, is because you really can give yourself the opportunity to grow something in a small space without a great deal of work. I mean, it's not like, trying to, grow corn or something. You don't need a field for it. And there's a couple of different types of lettuce. There's like everything, there's the one, the other, and then there's the stuff in the middle. So there's head lettuce. You get that. You'd think iceberg if you go to buy a Great Lakes, a seedling, or something that you're going to grow if you're in your garden. Those are iceberg lettuces. They are big, they are hard, and you can tell by their names where they do the best, okay? It's a little north of here. So anyway, I'll talk more about that, talk more about this. I will spontaneously start talking about plants. Stick around. This is the Garden Mama Show.
Can't be like the nights in the summer, in the city, in the summer, in the city. Cool town, eating in the city, dressed so fine and looking so pretty. Cool cat, looking for a kitty, gonna look in every corner of the city. Till I'm wheezing like a bus stop, running up the stairs, gonna meet you on the rooftop. But at night it's a different world, go out. And in the place where you live, now face, think about direction, wonder why.
Welcome back to the Garden Mama Show. I believe we've got somebody on the line, eh? Thank you, Caleb. Is Jim Long with us?
We're getting him right now.
Okie dokie. See, there's his voice. You'll get used to that voice here pretty soon. Jim Long is a dear friend of mine, a brilliant writer, a terrific horticulture person, and somebody that if you ever get a chance to go to Blue Eye, Missouri, you need to make sure that you schedule a visit to Long Creek Herb Farm. Good morning, Jim Long. How are you? They'll get him up here.
We're working on it.
That's fine. That's fine. You'll introduce him when you get him. The reason that we're talking to Jim today is not just because I love him dearly, but also because he has a brand new book out this summer. It is the culmination of a lifetime's work on something that is not done well enough, not done enough at all, but not done well enough, certainly. And that is, my friends, Wildcrafted Garden Structures, okay? I'm holding the book up on supertalk.tv, but you'll also get a chance to see it if you just send it to me. I'll send you information about it. What does this mean? This means lots and lots of work in terms of cutting things apart, taking them down. We've got trees, we've got saplings, we've got seedlings, we've got wood. What do we do with all this stuff? And
we got Jim.
Jim Long, welcome in. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Nellie. It's good to talk to you.
Well, I'm just thrilled. I wish that we could be sitting on your porch because I know how pretty it is this time of year. This is, when you have horticulture friends and they live just far enough away from you, and in this case in northern Arkansas, that you have a few things that the rest of us don't have. And so every year I follow you for all the morel mushroom dishes and all the things that y'all do that I can't quite manage here in this part of the world. But that's why it's so great to be a gardener, because you get a chance to experience things that other folks can do.
Isn't that the truth? Yes.
I have been, I don't even know, you tell me, how long have you been, Jim is the owner of Long Creek Herbs, and how long have you even been there? It's 100 years by now, right?
Close, 45.
Wow, isn't that wonderful? He and his partner Josh Long have a magnificent business that you need to go to longcreekherbs.com and see what is happening there. I'm going to tell you right now, just like I've told y'all a million times, the fungus nail soak is one of the best stocking stuffers you will ever get for a person that is of a certain age, or even just somebody that works on their feet, uses a whole lot of energy in that regard. So trust me, that's important. But today I'm going to tell you about something that I really don't think, you don't even know this, Jim. I still have a demo trellis that you built, and it's about 10 inches tall and 4 inches wide. And it isn't in the studio with me today because I have it packed away in my treasures, okay?
Oh my gosh.
And you have influenced me. It's not like I'm going to go out and be a great crafter, but I sure keep thinking I should, because well-crafted garden structures, and I do love that term, the way that you've put that. They are bent wood trellises, but it's also arbors and gates and fences and, oh my goodness. Tell me about, why did you decide to work with old wood? And some of it's not old, of course. Some of it's just not things you want to keep around. It's fresh wood, but it's got to be bent, so that's part of the deal. But talk to me a little bit about how this all got started, because it's so beautiful.
Well, I started tinkering with saplings and things when I was way too young to be using pruners. And I'd go out in my parents' alley next to their house and cut little saplings and put them together and build little bird houses and trellises and all kinds of things. And it just kind of expanded over the years, and I never outgrew it.
Well, there's a reason for that. First of all, it's a brilliant thing to do, and let's face it, in the South we do have a lot of extra saplings, particularly. We got stuff that comes up where we don't need it or don't want it. But sometimes, and I think I've heard you talk about this, or one of my friends has told me about it, when there's a place that's going to be taken apart, everything, all the trees are going to be scraped off for construction or a road or, some building project. That's a beautiful place to find this kind of wood that you're talking about. It's not been babied. It's not nursery grown trees. These are just things that sprout in many cases. And I have to tell y'all, if you look at, when you read this book, because I know you're going to buy it, and we are giving away 2 today, as I told y'all, there's one of the things that's so cool is that basically what you need is tie wire and a few screws and nails, and, as you say, a pruner that you're probably not old enough to use, but it would be good to have a pruner to make your choices. I love that the cover has the sunburst trellis on it. I think it's really pretty. But my favorite one in the whole book is the Golden Gate Bridge.
Oh.
Tell me,
that's one of my favorites too.
How in the world did you do that? I mean, this. Now, look, y'all. We all understand the Golden Gate Bridge is a concept, is a structure, is a thing. But I got to tell you, this particular fence really does remind you of it, and that's what it's called because of that. It has the same shapes and the same vibe. So, how did you develop that one?
Oh, I have no idea. I just lots of times it's the wood that guides me. I'll go out and cut a bunch of things, and I'll have a pile of them next to my little wooden picnic table that I build them on, and I'll start putting them together and think, oh, this works better this way. And the wood kind of guides you as you go along, and how it bends and what it looks like as it progresses. So that was just a happenstance of how that one came about.
Love it. I do think that that's one of the most encouraging parts. When you speak about doing this, you always talk about it being a matter of finding the way. It's not like taking a particular design and then going and find the wood. You pretty much find the wood and then decide what you're going to do with it, is how it impresses me.
Yes, that's true. And I had a funny experience when I was redoing this book a year ago. I had a period of time when I was not feeling great, and so I had a garden helper who was every bit of 13 years old, and his mother, and I asked them to build that particular trellis for me. They used my designs, and I supervised and showed them the tools and so forth, but my original one was lots smaller than that. And they built it as a very large fence, about waist high and about 10 feet long, and it is spectacular.
That's gorgeous, just wonderful. And it's because that's how they saw the wood. So when you approach these things, I want you to get Jim's book, Wildcrafted Garden Structures. If you don't happen to win it today, you can get it anywhere you buy books. Story Publisher is who did this. But it's the thing of it is, it will inspire you to find your own way. And I started to bring in, but I didn't. One of the reasons that Jim and I are such friends is because we were 100 years ago again, maybe it's only 30, but we were on a panel of self-publishing with our friend Betty Mackey to talk about how you put these things together. And Jim is the king of this, all right? So the first of these books, I have all of them.
Really?
I have the
Oh,
entire development of your Bentwood Trellis collection, because it's just been, I love you so much, but it's also been a fascinating thing to show people how books develop. And it's really important to understand that the idea has never shifted. It's just the presentation to make it more and more updated and more, frankly, modern. It's 21st century time here. So that's what we're into. There was something else I wanted to make sure I talked about in asking you about things. Y'all, come on. This is Making the Basic Trellis. For folks watching at SuperTalk.tv, I'm now holding up the book. This has a green page, so you can't see it, but the other piece is just magnificent, beautiful, beautiful stuff. But what he does is to go through each one from the tools. And by the way, if you've never had anybody explain to you which pruner is what, that's in here too. That doesn't hurt. People don't know. Everybody thinks a hand pruner is the only thing you need. That's not really necessarily true. But then we get into big and small nails and wire and whatnot. And I love, love, love making a workspace, because you do have to have. I tell the story sometimes, Jim. Right before I started having children, I had a choice between a class in welding and a class in glass making. Like stained glass windows. Mm-hmm. So, of course, because I was impractical at the time, I took the stained glass windows class and loved it, enjoyed cutting glass, enjoyed doing all that. But then I began having children, and so for the next 25 years, you can't leave anything laid out. You can't lay glass around. You got to have a workspace. You got to have a place where this is what's going on. And I think you probably keep up with your nails better than I do, too, because of that. I know that you are talking to people all over the country. I want to know, how's the book being received? I know you're talking to people in places, in fact, where they don't even have this much wood. But how are people responding to you?
Oh, quite good. People get excited about it. A lot of ladies ask their husbands to build trellises for them, so they buy the book. And it's something that even kids can do. Mm-hmm. And you can do it in miniature, like the miniature one you have, out of something like weeping willow, or you can do it out of whatever's in your back fence row that needs to be weeded out.
And there's probably something there. You may not think about it, but there's probably something there. What are your favorite woods to work with?
I love working with native cedar. That's my favorite.
Nice.
Eastern red cedar. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And also hickory works great. And weeping willow is wonderful if you want to make something a foot tall. But most any wood that will bend. When people ask me what kind of wood to use and they can't identify wood, I said any wood can be a trellis wood if you can bend it.
Well, and unfortunately, we don't see as many cedars as we used to, but there are still some that are around in the wild. We used to think about, in the South, we used to think about the pencil cedars, that came up along every fence because the birds had eaten the seeds. Mm-hmm. And we had so much of that proliferated that way, and we don't have as much as we used to. But I do think that notion of an aromatic wood makes a lot of sense, because it not only keeps you going, but it also helps to keep the bugs out of the structure once it gets built. So that's, I think that's a brilliant way to go. I have so many questions. I have too many questions. I want to make sure that people understand that this is something that you can do literally from childhood all the way through whatever age you want to be. And we talk about, I don't even know, who in you know this? I don't even know this. Where did people start wattling for the first time? You know, wattling are those little low fences, y'all. Jim knows, but y'all may not know, that are completely made out of sticks, and oftentimes they have a certain curve to them because the wood had a curve to it. But the idea was that they're certainly not impenetrable, but they do mark space. And I think they're just beautiful. I really do. There's several ways to look at that.
Well, they've been around for maybe 1,000 years. Europeans used wattle fencing early on for keeping animals apart and gardens protected. And wattling is beautiful. Takes an incredible amount of material to build. But yeah, there's lots of attractiveness with a wattle fence.
That's the first place that people will often see this kind of work done, because it does have such historic pieces to it. Frankly, I've had so many people say over the years, well, you know, that wood's going to rot one day anyway. Yeah, have you ever waited for it to rot? You know, you'll be here for a while. So
yeah.
We're not talking about things that are short-lived. Some of that wattle fencing has been literally there since it began. People go in and patch it. I watched a project at, I can't remember where I was, somewhere in Holland, and they were doing that, but refurbishing it. It's kind of like a thatched roof in that it has that same sort of architectural component to it that people like to reproduce. But it's not nearly as much fun as making wildcrafted structures. I love that in this book, Jim, you also tell us about how to put the gate in. In other words, not just how to make a gate out of wood. That's beautiful, that's in there. But then how to install that thing. Because you know how many people do that wrong.
Oh, I don't know that there's any wrong way to do it, as long as you get a hinge on it and it opens and closes.
Yeah, but they don't. People put wire around it and think that's going to last forever. You know?
Yes.
You know, but we need to do a little bit fancier, just a little bit fancier. We're going to take a break right now. Can you stick with me for just a few more minutes?
Sure. Yes.
Okay. I want to talk to you about you, if that's okay. My guest is Jim Long. He's from longcreekherbs.com. We'll be right back. Jim Long is my guest this morning on the Garden Mama Show. Welcome back, folks. We're talking about Wildcrafted Garden Structures, Jim's new book, which is absolutely an inspiration to you and, frankly, to anybody that you would like to get inspired. You should get it for them. We've got folks that are weighing in because they want to win the copies that we're giving away today. I want to send a shout-out, Jim, to your publicist, Maddie. She's going to mail these books to the folks, and I think that's terrific. That's a good promotion for us. I'm really tickled that you did this. I know this is a bigger, denser version of the book, and I remember when you were looking at all of your experience and all that you put together to put into this, it really was a textbook. And I say that with all honor. That's not to put it down. Your writing in particular is brilliant, but it's also true that you take everybody through step by step by step. I appreciate that so much. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. It was fun.
You know, I wonder about that. Would it be? Is it really fun? I think it is fun. You
really want to know?
I got 2 half books done, and I'm not. You know, I've done them before, and now for some reason lately, it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. That's for sure. Talk to me a little bit, Jim. You mentioned that there was a time when you were not feeling so well, and frankly, I'm going to put that word out there because I've got people in my own family that need to realize that at a certain point we do need to hire that 13-year-old to come over and help, you know. Find us a couple of them. We could all use it. But you have really, I know you've been out giving talks and stuff, and although it's not our immediate issue, I'm going to say that when I first heard alpha-gal, I thought it must be some memoir of Gal Gadot, or it had to be something about Lady Gaga or something because it sounded so cool. But then you add syndrome to the end of it, and alpha-gal syndrome is something that we in Mississippi have not dealt with as much as you in Arkansas and in Tennessee. But let's face it, it's everywhere. Tell me about Lone Star ticks and all of this stuff that you're dealing with.
Well, there's all kinds of conspiracy theories about how it all started, and you can go down a deep hole pretty quickly if you start reading or watching videos on Facebook about the conspiracy theories. But the reality is, as deer have expanded across the United States and increased in huge numbers in our area in particular, ticks have come along with them. And evidently alpha-gal has been around for 20 years or more, and it was in Australia before that. In the U.S. Northeast, it is even more prevalent than we are here, although Missouri and Arkansas are two of the top states in the nation for the number of cases.
I have read about restaurants on the East Coast actually changing their menus because of the main thing that happens, of course, is this red meat allergy. And so mainly you're sick is the first point, though. So I recognize that they're trying to do stuff on the tail end of it, but how you got there is so tough, it's
well, and I was so sick. You're in a lot of pain, you vomit, you have terrible reactions to all kinds of foods that you don't have any guide for which one does it. And I saw over last year probably 8 doctors, specialists, who could not figure out what was wrong with me. And just kind of out of the blue, as an add-on, one of the doctors at the Veterans Administration said, let's throw in an alpha-gal test. And sure enough, and it was such a relief to know what the cause was. And you mentioned restaurants are changing their menus. Just in a year's time, in my nearest city of Springfield, Missouri, it has gone from almost no places that I could eat safely to at least 2 restaurants that are nothing but alpha-gal friendly menus, and almost every restaurant in town, which entails 100 or more, that have alpha-gal separate menus. So it has become such a big problem that restaurants are. The first time that I found a restaurant last winter that I could actually be safe eating the food, I cried because I had really believed that I would never eat at a restaurant again.
It is one of those things that I hate to say it, but you're really on the front line of this. I mean, it's not. People have known about it and people have tried to react to it, but the boom in alpha-gal in the last few years has really made a huge difference. And I hate that I have to know one of the people that's on the front line of it, but I also really am glad that, because you're so articulate, and when you tell people about it, they'll understand what they're looking for. And of course, the Lone Star tick, I mean, we've been taught to look for ticks all our life, but who does? Well, we do, but we don't, It's one of those things you got to be very careful about.
Yes, you do. And one other thing about alpha-gal, you go to an allergist who treats allergies, and it is basically an allergy to red meats. You will be told there's no treatment, that you're going to have to live with it. That's true from all of my research. You don't ever get rid of it. But there are several treatments that are available. They're alternative medicine treatments. I took one. I can now eat a hamburger without throwing up and not have any reaction whatsoever. So don't believe the first person you go to if you come down.
Isn't that true about so many things? It really is. I have a story that I read this week. You've been gardening at least as long as I have, and when they finally brought us a hormonal-based weed killer in Roundup, we thought, well, that's going to help a lot because things that aren't susceptible to that hormone aren't going to be affected. Well, it turns out the honeybees are affected by it, and we've got new research in that endeavor to try and understand better. But those of us who said, I don't know, I haven't used Roundup, I've maybe used it 3 or 4 times in my life, but I certainly studied it a lot. And I knew that there was, if it sounds too good to be true, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I believe that we do tend to try and find a solution. And oftentimes, no offense to my friends who are physicians, because I do have some, it is easier to just tell the person you're going to have to live with this than it is to explore all of these options and all these alternatives. So thankfully, the community of people in this class, you are paying attention to it and getting the word out. It's real important.
Yes, and there is hope. I follow a lot of alpha-gal Facebook groups, and I will see somebody who says, I've just been diagnosed, I don't know what to do, I don't know how to eat. And the biggest problem of all with alpha-gal is how many food items there are that include animal products. For example, I take a lot of medicine because I'm a kidney transplant patient. I had to change over half of my medicines because they all were
They're on that line.
Capsules.
Yeah. My goodness. I know it's made a huge difference in your life. I follow you, of course, and try not to poke in too much, but, I'm sort of a mama and an old friend, so I have to poke in a little bit. But, that's the thing. I want people to understand these are the things that we figure out, we learn to live with. Jim Long is my role model. I hope he'll be yours, too. Thank you, Jim. Whether it's Wildcrafted Garden Structures or whether you want to know some more about some of this wild stuff that he's doing, frankly, in the garden and in the house to keep himself healthy, longcreekherbs.com. Y'all come on.
Thank you, Nellie.
Thank you, Jim. Love you much. Say hi to Josh for me. Give him a hug. Later.
Sure will.
We'll be right
Bye-bye.
back, folks.
Lawn you hate to mow and everything green in between. Garden Mama's here to help you keep on growing. Still the empress of everything green. Here's your horticulture maven, Garden Mama Nellie Neal, on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Welcome in, welcome in. If you are kind enough to join us at supertalk.tv, you are looking at LaFleur's Bluff in Jackson, photographed by my friend Robert this week. It's a beauty and a very green scene, which makes me so happy. If I just had on a green shirt, I could disappear and simply be a head for you today, but that's not really necessary. Oh, good questions that they're hanging over from the last hour. I wanted to make sure that I got to this. Is it too hot to grow lettuce now in Zone 8? It's too hot to grow it, but it's not too hot to start it. And that's what we're talking about, is making your choices between head lettuces and salad lettuces or leafy lettuces, and the ones kind of in between, and the ones that you actually cut by the individual leaf, like mesclunes and some of the other spicier greens. So it's certainly not too soon to start them. And that's really what I'm all about, giving you the tools that you need to do that. And I think the first really thing is to understand about, we're going to talk next week about soils and about containers that are appropriate and where the site is and how much water we need. So I'm going to put it all together for you in a very practical lettuce growing notion. But it does begin with picking your varieties. And if you like leaf lettuce, if you like something a little bit crunchy, get some romaine seeds. If you like leaf lettuce that's soft, get that. But just remember, it's really what you're growing, what you want to eat, and that's really all there is to that. One more quick note, and then we'll get into the program a little better. Ken is having the Gardener's Classic. It won't grow fast enough. Be patient. They're coming along fine. Peperomias and things like that do not grow quickly, and if they were going to grow fast, they would be weak when you got them into, they wouldn't be able to put up with your household conditions so well. So enjoy it, but don't worry about that. I believe that Peaches Patrick is in the studio. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I love that shirt.
Yeah.
You were
And
looking like summertime.
We did not coordinate this morning, but we got close.
We're well coordinated.
We got close.
Yes, we are. And we're looking at some pictures at SuperTalk .tv. Your pool and that really, where is that beautiful plant? You don't have to give me somebody's address, but is that the reservoir or is that a Lake
Yes.
Caroline or where is that?
That's the reservoir.
So pretty.
One of my clients that loves vegetables, but doesn't really have a spot because
big tub garden though is
geese, all that stuff. So we just put it together, a little window box full of herbs and vegetables.
Yeah, this is a window box that's like 4 feet long and made out of metal.
Yeah.
It's big enough.
But
well, and it can tolerate that windy condition by the water too.
It does.
It's not going to blow over. We don't always think about what we're putting out on that deck. And
Right.
sometimes, 4 or 5 small pots are not going to be there in a week, or else they're going to have rolled over and the dog's going to play with them or something. So go with something that is substantial. And that's how come we've got such beautiful onions and things in this, rosemary and whatnot.
And their problem is geese.
Of course. Those geese.
Those geese.
May I just say this?
And that-
I don't know if y'all remember in the 90s when everybody had the porch geese that were concrete geese, and now they're back. I think they're adorable, but I can't imagine that if geese are your problem, as they are at the Ross Barnett Reservoir and all the neighborhoods out there, I don't know if you're going to want a goose. Maybe it'll scare the real geese. I don't know.
And they're not concrete anymore.
No, they're rosin, aren't they?
Yes,
But they're still heavy. They're actually beautiful. This morning's Sirius flower is out here. That the plant. This is one of those things, y'all. Night blooming cereus is not the most attractive plant in the world. It has spiny, weird leaves, and it sprawls all over the place. But then when it blooms, you don't care because you're enjoying it so much. It's like, this, no offense to anybody, but the child that runs up to you to hug you that's got snotty nose and dirt all over their hands and stuff, you're still going to hug them and love them because they're so adorable. In this case, the Sirius is the payoff, and the beautiful white flower. These are particularly fragrant, too, so that's been fun.
Nice. Yeah, Mr. Joe's not going to bloom this year. I kind of disrupted him a few times, but
he doesn't care. I just want to let you know that.
He'll be fine next year.
This plant, we're talking about 50-year-old things today. This is literally a 50-year-old plant, without doubt. There's no question. Paula from Dentville says, hey, and she's got this.
Paula.
Her split-leaf philodendron is the prettiest thing I've ever seen.
It is.
I am jealous. It's when I grow split-leaf philodendron, either one leaf gets to be the size of your arm and the rest of them aren't, or they fall out the pot and this is just perfect. She's really done a good job on that. That's lovely.
She's a little better about self-control than maybe
the
myself.
Rest of us.
Maybe myself. You know how it is.
Maybe then the rest of us. Oh, that's so pretty. She's got gorgeous things. Well, I want to ask you, Mark, what's on your green mind today? You've been out and about. Your tan is looking good.
Man, oh yeah, yeah. It's everything you probably said. In the first hour that you could. It's really time to get out there and get ready for the fall.
Yeah, that's true. Surprisingly, it will be here in a minute.
the pool photo that I posted was a Thursday's record-breaking Jackson rainfall. 2.43 inches.
How nice.
On that date broke the record of any day in August that they've been keeping record.
I know it has been wished for in many places.
So now, if you're in the Jackson area, central Mississippi, and you got that rain, pull weeds.
Oh, yeah.
Get up at daylight, pull weeds till about 10, go inside, read a book, hang out.
You'll be so happy.
Do laundry, clean the house, go back about 6 before the sun, right before the sun sets, pull a few more, and start over tomorrow.
And wear your mosquito repellent.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah, they're back.
Yeah, because dusk and dawn are their busiest times. They're feeding and you're the food, so you need to wear your repellent at that point.
So, that's what I've been doing in gardens. I went and hung out in Fondren this week and liberated 200 plus daylilies.
Oh my goodness.
Pruned them, but got them organized. next year.
We do tend to plant one and then plant another one and then plant another one, and then all of a sudden you got 40 or 50 things that really would look a whole lot better if they were organized,
Exactly.
just a little bit. My goodness.
So that, that's kind of what I've been doing, revamping people's gardens that have burned up, that just need a little cleaning up, because let's face it, if anybody's going to give up on gardening, it's going to be in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's true.
So
That's true.
if they can't do it, you just get a hold of Peaches, and
That's right.
we'll fluff
Tell them
it
how
up.
to reach you, because you've got 2 or 3 things going on at the same time.
Well, of course, you can find me on Facebook or Instagram, if Mark Patrick, and if you put Peaches in there, thanks to the late Lance Talbert, you'll find me. And then my phone number is pretty easy, 601-832-3940. And I will answer text calls. If you go, you can email me at Southern Charm GDS, Southern Charm, G as in good, D as in design, S as in service, at gmail.com.
That's
easy.
a good one. That's a good one. I was once the owner of RG Produce, Real Good Produce.
Yeah.
It's perfect. It makes perfectly good sense.
And here's a funny one that's on my mind, Nellie. Guess what
Yes.
time it is?
I don't know.
It's time to plant poinsettias.
Oh my goodness, it sure is, isn't it?
Yes. I saw a video from our friends
do-
down in Brookhaven.
Our dear grower friends are getting those boxes in from Ecke and Yoder and all those places. Y'all, this is one of the biggest days in a greenhouse operator's life, is the day that the poinsettia cuttings come in, because it's always either pouring down rain or it's 110 degrees. Neither one of which is very good for poinsettia cuttings.
Exactly. So yeah, it's time.
Yeah,
and then
it
in
really
about
is.
3 weeks, it'll be time to give them that first pinch.
Isn't that something? Yeah. So if you're growing a poinsettia that you kept from last year, now if you haven't pinched it, I hope you have, because we've been talking about that off and on. But I will tell you that Paul the poinsettia finally croaked. He got
Did he?
He got something bored into the stem, and the whole thing collapsed. So that was the end of that. But it happens. I mean, come on, the thing was 6 years old.
Well, since you're making confessions, I'm going to make one too.
Uh-oh.
Dumpster Dan,
Oh, no.
he didn't make it either.
Oh, no.
No.
Well, not everything makes it. That's why we grow so much.
That's right.
And when someone says to me, I have an orchid and it's not doing well, I'm tempted often to say, get another one. Not because they'll help each other, but because you'll
Right.
feel better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What's the big question people are asking you now? Now that it's rained, they don't have to ask you when it's going to rain. That would be the next. That's
No.
usually what people ask. But
Oh, wow. Put me on the spot.
yeah.
Can I prune my shrubs? Is
Ooh.
it too late?
Ooh.
Is it too late?
There's a loaded question.
That is a loaded question. I had to inform a customer the other day. I planted one of those beautiful golden small hollies,
Yeah.
and she was just delighted with it. And I said, and this is off the books, but if it gets a branch on it and it's bothering you, just cut it off.
Yeah, as long as you're taking it off completely.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to prune something that you would think is going to bloom next year, better be careful what you're messing with.
Yeah, exactly.
I have a sasanquas, and right now the sasanquas have old growth, new growth, and they also have brand new buds forming, and they also have seed balls. You can tell I didn't prune anything this spring.
But yeah.
But it is one of those things that's, what do I do with this? Well, you don't do anything with it. You can go in and pluck off the seed balls if you want to. But those buds and that bright green growth is actually the future.
Well, at the green plantation, the sasanquas are 12 feet tall now.
Yeah, can't do
Yeah,
anything
yeah.
about that anyway.
Nah,
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Just live with it. Just live with it. And then the cutting back of the roses.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Thank
Nah,
goodness you
yeah.
brought that up. Yes,
Yeah, I've got my little barrel out there sitting next to them, and hopefully I can work that in this weekend.
I've
it's
seen a whole
given a
bunch of
good
drift
trade.
roses in the garden centers now.
Yeah.
And I love drift roses. I didn't know that there are a couple of them that have a nice sweet scent to them. I didn't know that.
There
Yeah.
are.
I was pleased. I was glad to hear that. Because, when we talk about drift roses, we're talking about things that if at this point you would be cutting them back for maybe the second time in the summer.
Right.
Because you're going to have more flowers at least to Thanksgiving, in most drift boxes. So that's really neat. That's wonderful.
I'm going to give mine a really hard prune the next couple of days. Because I've got the one big Floribunda.
Yeah.
And then surrounded by the red knockout. And
I have to tell you, I saw a red knockout that I know I saw last year, and it was a perfectly nice sized plant. Now it's as big as a truck.
Right.
I don't know what happened.
Yes.
But, whew, they can really grow.
Yes. Okay, can I touch on one that is kind of sensitive?
Please.
If you are a fan of Sunshine Ligustrum, I'm going to rant a little bit, Nellie. Forgive me.
No, that's fine. My neighbor
I
is,
hope
and
you don't get
I'm
nasty
concerned about it.
emails.
It's okay. I'm used to it.
If you read that label, it's going to say average of 4 feet or so. Okay?
It's a lie.
Do your homework. I pruned one that was 12 feet this week.
It was beautiful, but
It's
it was
beautiful.
way huge.
But, in a patio home, a Sunshine Ligustrum becomes another wing of the home.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't want that.
No. And that was one I was a little fired up about this week. I'm like, man.
My neighbor has those, and they actually also grow at different rates.
They do.
And that's kind of... So, yes, you can prune them every year, even a couple of times, but they're still going to grow at different rates, and they're going to get bigger than they say they will.
They definitely are.
For
They
sure.
definitely are.
Here's a good question. What are some good flowers that will give color to a winter flower pot? It's a large container, 24 inches wide at the top. Ooh.
3 of
I like it.
Yeah.
I want
lots of stuff.
snapdragons.
Snapdragons, ornamental cabbage or kale.
Oh, yeah.
Swiss chard is a lot of fun.
So pretty. So pretty.
Dusty Miller, or if you want to go with something that's more perennial, put some Artemisia in there.
And it'll carry you all the way through, for sure.
Rosemary, violas.
That's great. That's
just-
great.
there's a
So
lot.
many choices. And as we come up to a little bit more into fall, of course, you can toss in some daffodil bulbs, some tulip bulbs,
There you go.
depending on what you want to add to that. I'm always in favor of that. I drove past some crinums that, speaking of big plants, I always think of crinums as being like, 3 feet tall and then flower stalks on top of them. These were at least 5 feet tall, and the flower stalks were bigger than that.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, I wonder how long that crinum has been there, because they will get bigger, but they're big already, and usually they don't outgrow their space quite as much. The reason we talk about things that grow too fast is really because if you plant it based on that label, you're going to have a different issue next year when you can't find any more. Whatever you planted underneath it has disappeared. You got to go back and figure out what was in that bed.
Exactly.
So, and then you call Mark.
Did you touch on I purchased a very large container. What would you recommend to put over the drainage holes?
I did not yet. Go ahead and tell us.
Yeah, there's a lot of options. Some of them, one of my favorites is plastic bottles. Put the cap. They're lightweight, save up some water bottles, squeeze the air out of them, put the cap back on, put those in there.
The water will drain around it, but the dirt won't fall out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Mark Patrick is my guest right now. I'm so happy y'all are all with us. We've got a full tilt bunch of texts to answer, and we're going to get to them here in just a little bit, because this is the Garden Mama. I see you and Dr. Eddie Smith in that photograph.
That's a little teaser.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
We are going to be... it takes, you kind of have to send out a rope and gather this guy in because he's so busy. But for some reason or another, he has responded to Mark's serious invitation. They're going to be sitting in here on the show in September, on September the 12th.
I got goosebumps. I'm excited.
It's going to be great. He's wonderful.
It's going to be so
He's
much
a blast.
fun.
You're going to have a great
So
time.
much fun.
I also saw I'm looking at Lantana's behind y'all at SuperTalk.tv, but there's also a beautiful, was that your photo of Lantana with a black swallowtail in it?
Yes.
That is so pretty. That butterfly was just gorgeous.
That's my sunrise.
Just gorgeous, gorgeous. I remember that lantana.
Yes. Blood, sweat, and tears for that lantana.
Exactly. We have had so many opportunities here to talk to people about the book that Jim Long did. I've got everybody that I can possibly put into the list now. We're going to try and get that drawn out for you and let you know here in just a minute. I think we're going to have 3 people, it looks like, that I've got 3. I have 3 to give away, so we're in good shape.
I was real excited in the email to see a 417 area code because, that's my stomping ground.
That's your world,
That is my world. I'm like, wait.
Yep. That's that's my friend that is in Blue Eye. He's in very northern Arkansas.
Right.
And it's so far north that they get their mail in Blue Eye, Missouri.
That's right. Well,
across the state line. And that's where you're from.
When I was at my friend Anita's at Teborock Lake, from her porch, you can see Blue Eye.
Yep, it's right
just
there.
Across the water.
It's right over there. Pretty place. Lovely part of the world.
Just a little piece south of Goose Poop Island.
You sure that's not at the reservoir?
I'm positive.
The people that live at the reservoir wish there was an island for those geese, I'll tell you. All right, we got 2 questions on the text line that are for you. Oh, yes. First of all, Laura sent a picture that was so adorable. She said she cleaned up underneath. She's doing what you told her. She cleaned up underneath the quince. And sure enough, the quince bloomed because it was so happy.
There you go.
That off-season bloom thing is kind of odd, but we appreciate it. Let's see. We have a writer, a texter that wants to know about splitting daylilies. Did you talk about what you did with those? What
we did is this particular lady, her favorite flower is daylilies. And over the years as she had collected them, she placed them randomly throughout a garden. And on our first consultation, I said, would you mind if I dig all those up and put them in one area for more impact? So we dug the bulbs, cleaned them, cut 90% of the foliage off.
Make a little fan?
Made a little small fan out of them,
By the way, we do that, y'all, so that they don't kill themselves trying to keep up that big, long leaf while they're trying to root. The plant can only do a couple of things at a time.
And then, we kept them in water. We got the bed prepped, soil prepped, watered it. I mean, I know a lot of people don't like to plant in mud, but it wasn't mud, but it was moist. Mulched, spread them, pulled the mulch back, and replanted them in there. It's a great time of year to do them. Daylilies are really tough.
Yeah, they are. They are. The other thing about that, in terms of design, is that when you pull 5 or 10, 15, 20 together that have been around in different places in the yard, it looks like you have a whole lot more of it. And plus, when they begin their blooming, they kind of play off of each other.
Yeah.
So you've got this one today and that one tomorrow. I mean, it's a really beautiful way to have daylilies. It is.
She had one particular group that was obviously a repeat bloomer.
Oh,
so we just kind of slightly lifted it and didn't relocate it and left it in its spot because it's still blooming.
I think about Scarlet O'Hara. That's my favorite one of those. Just for some reason that flower just will not stop, and it's a beautiful daylily. It's a lovely one.
But I can't wait to go back in a couple of weeks, and I think she's going to be amazed.
There'll be both new growth as well as a more organized site in the design.
Yeah, and
one more question. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It also helps with disease control because this time of year with the humidity, rust tends to move in on daylilies. So if they're done blooming and you're starting to see rust, cut that foliage off, get it away from the plants, dispose of it, clean the area up.
Don't compost it.
Do not compost it. Yeah, it needs to go to the street.
Believe me, the rust would love it if you would compost it. Then it could get on everything.
Yeah,
but we don't want to do that.
Be there. So that's another good reason to do it after they've finished blooming.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We talk about you read a book from somewhere and it tells you that you should be dividing perennials like that in the season opposite their bloom. That doesn't work here in the Deep South.
Right.
If we wait for that summer daylily and try and divide it at the end of fall, it's likely to get literally waterlogged and disappear. We need to go ahead and get them settled so they can be ready for whatever comes in the winter, because we never know. Could be dry, could be wet, could be both. We
could have a blizzard.
It's true. One more question about instructions on pinching poinsettias. If you've got one that's growing and you're keeping it, where do we pinch?
I love this.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you've had this poinsettia and you've had it for, since Grandma passed, whatever, over their growing season, they're going to start getting a little weak toward the top. So basically what you want to do, depending on the plant size, is come down a third. Depending on how big it is, you might want to come down a half. You're going to find the place on the stem where there's a leaf joint coming out, and you're going to cut it at an angle and dispose of all of that. And then all of those internodes, joints down at the bottom, will produce new bracts, and it will be fuller, and it will be able to hold itself up.
It's like so many things that it needs that stronger base to hold up the rest of the plant.
Because they get so top heavy. That's why, breeders have brought poinsettias down so they don't get so big. Because back, in the 99, 98, when I started growing poinsettias, some of those varieties got 5 feet tall if you didn't pinch them back, and you couldn't ship them because they would break.
That's true.
So
that's very true.
But it's
and now
not
you can now the ones that are tree formed and are big are really prized.
Right.
Because it's difficult to grow. It's really difficult to ship. It's really,
very difficult to ship. That's why they are pricey, but people love them.
Well, and that's one reason why we want to keep them going.
Absolutely.
That's for true. We appreciate them year after year. Okay, we did that. What exactly do we pinch off?
I need to go.
Cut back those knockout roses. Go ahead. Please.
I want to go meet Larry in Flowood and find out how he does that with muley grass. I can't grow that plant.
I love muley grass.
I love it too, but it doesn't like me. Congratulations, Larry.
It is Joel's in Tupelo. Good morning. By the way, this is not Elvis week in Tupelo, but Elvis week because of his birthday and all that.
Right.
And I just have to say it's Elvis week every week around here, especially in Tupelo, but certainly everywhere. Joel wants to know, is it too late to transplant roses or lantanas from the pot to the ground? Would you do that now, or would you wait a little while, Mark? What do you think?
I'd probably wait a little while. The ground is really, really dry. If you do it now, you're going to be watering yourself silly.
Yeah, you have to go out and move in with them.
But I will say, when you get ready to do it, take about 50% of that plant off.
Yeah, that's the hardest part.
Before
but you do have to cut
dig it,
yeah.
and then transplant it.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right.
Yeah,
it's so important. Beautiful basil. Looks to me like Brenda's like me. She needs to start making some pesto or something. That's really beautiful. She's also got ginger that's huge. I was jealous in the first hour. My ginger has like one sprout, because I just started growing it.
That's dwarf
really
ginger.
Beautiful. That muley grass is gorgeous. I tell you what, tall enough to fall over. Yeah, that's just beautiful. It's really lovely. I don't know the secret actually. But I do know that you don't want to cut it back now because it's about to be blooming, and that the cotton candy flowers on there are so pretty. But I do like muley grass. Muhlenbergia, that group of plants, is one of the native grasses. There's not that many that are native to the South. So in some cases, we tend to try to keep them dry because we know to keep fountain grass dry. We know to keep other ones in a little bit drier circumstance. But muley grass really can't take that. On the other hand, it really can't be underwater either.
Right.
So it has its serious pieces and parts. Oh, beautiful, lovely hummingbird feeder with a hummingbird in Memphis. That's nice.
This text line is blowing up this morning.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah, I love
so
this.
Sweet. We love when y'all
Keep
talk
it up,
to
y'all.
us.
This is fun.
When y'all talk to us.
And we have a question.
I need help with Iris.
I need help with that.
You're going to answer her? That's Jan.
Yeah.
Okay, answer Jan. Oh, dear. The iris are spread all over the yard and they're buried too deep. That does sound like a recovery project for Southern Charm Garden Design.
Yes.
So take her information and get that going. It's really funny. Sometimes you look around and you go, how did this happen? But you got to fix it, so you just do. Ooh, here's a big question. How long you got, Jackie? Why are some crepe myrtles blooming and others are not?
That was the one I was levitating towards.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Can we cut Craig in Montpelier wants to cut the roses. Yes, please do.
Yes.
You can do that as much as by half if you need to. Okay, I'll start. Some crepe myrtles are fickle. Some crepe myrtles don't bloom because they're mean and don't like you. I mean, there's no reason for it. In other words, our colleague in horticulture will tell you that the third from the left of a row of crepe myrtles is either the other color that you didn't want or it doesn't bloom at all. So that's we talk about the crepe myrtle LA being so beautiful, or the live oak LA that's just so gorgeous. You know, there's long lines of things, but there are problems, and sometimes one tree doesn't do what it's supposed to do. That's the first one. Some varieties are less likely to rebloom. And so it'll bloom in May or June, but they don't, unless you're able to reach it to deadhead those flower clusters, they just don't produce more flowers. Other varieties make a whole lot of flower clusters over and over again, off and on through the summer. The third reason, I suppose, is because something has grown tall, or your neighbor built a house or something. There's too much shade for the crepe myrtle to be able to bloom. I don't know if you can do anything about that, but it's very seldom a bug or a disease or anything like that. It's usually the nature of the tree or where it is planted. Quite frankly, I know my garden center buddies aren't going to like me saying this, but you don't actually have to feed them after about the first 2 years.
No.
So if there's too much nitrogen in there, then you may not get as many flowers as you like. But usually it's just a case that particular variety can't rebloom, or that one's not going to bloom at all. I hate to say that, but it's true.
And you can try, if it's small enough that you can cut it back, it might lightly, don't murder it.
Yeah, just cut off the flower clusters.
Cut off the tips, and it
and
might.
And one little set of leaves underneath the flower cluster. And if they can rebloom, they will.
They will, yeah.
But don't get on a ladder to, hurt yourself to do that.
No.
Please.
Why isn't my old-fashioned yellow lantana blooming?
Oh.
It could be spider mites.
Yeah, if the leaves don't look good.
Yeah. Cut it back. Give it a little fertilizer.
But this is the time of year that we can cut back the lantanas without blinking, because they've got months left to grow in the season.
Plenty of time.
Quite frankly, this would be the point at my old house where they would start scratching my truck as I drove in the driveway, so I would go chop on them because of that. But it is true that an older plant, you may want to use a fertilizer you mix in water, so that you can pour it directly into that root zone. I think sometimes that we sprinkle our fertilizers out there, or particularly people who use Osmocote in the garden, they'll think, well, I did that in July. Well, I'm sorry, it probably never got to the lantana, because it's a woody plant, first of all. And second of all, it's dry in there, inside of it, not inside your yard necessarily, but you need to get that fertilizer down to where the roots actually are. I do like old-fashioned lantanas.
I do.
So
yeah,
pretty.
well, that's why I have Sunset,
Yeah, it's a beautiful plant.
That's my baby.
Oh, I'm so happy to see these. The Peggy Martins got planted in June. They've got shoots growing everywhere. Yeah, the training is the hard part. I can guarantee you that. That's how I ended up with Peggy Martin growing up a magnolia tree when it had a trellis that I was carefully attaching canes to, but they went up the tree anyway, and went on up there anyway. What is the best way to train? I think soft cotton twine, and that sort of stuff. You don't have to do a whole lot, but you got to get them attached to the thing. Okay?
Mine has met a white wisteria behind the storage building, and they're fine together. They're happy.
They're duking it out.
Yeah. Next spring it's going to be great.
It'll be beautiful. We will take a break now. Say good morning to my own Tupelo honeys. We'll be right back.
Yes, you are. She's an angel.
As always, we have, thank goodness, more questions than we can answer. So we're ripping through some of these. Magnolia volunteered in the bed, dug it up 4 years ago. It's beautiful. Why won't it bloom? I don't know. Give it some fertilizer this fall would be my suggestion. There's 4 or 5 years is certainly plenty of time for it to put on at least one flower. It does take a little time after you transplant something like that. But I would give it some fertilizer this fall. And I don't want Paula to give up on the hydrangea.
No.
So we'll talk about that if we have a chance, but just don't give up on it. We'll get to it eventually.
Greg, Paula might text me at midnight tonight and ask me.
She
about
might.
That. You never
she
know.
might. You might have to wake up and answer her. That'd be great.
Right.
Beautiful, beautiful. I've already addressed Greg's olive tree. We both did. We both feel like you should take off the dead part and try and root some of that because
Yes.
it's a pretty little tree. The gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous African basil. It's so pretty.
Yes.
Thank you for showing that to us. I love that plant. Just gorgeous. Really, really pretty. Something to keep deer out of my hostas.
I can touch on that one.
Okay.
There are some products out there that work moderately well, depending on how many deer and how many hosta you have. Even in an urban area, suburban area where I live, we had a little problem with that. There are some granular deer repellents, but there are also, if you're in central Mississippi, you might notice them at the roundabout near Renaissance. It looks like a little hockey puck type thing, and there is a deer repellent pellet, hockey puck.
Oh my
looking,
goodness.
and the wind goes through it, and it emits a smell. And we actually put them in our garden because, we had a deer.
Well, we're all building houses where the deer live,
Yeah,
so
and hostas are like salad to deer. If you put a bottle of ranch dressing out there, they'd be lined up around the corner. So I would not use a spray. I would use a granule.
Mm-hmm. Put it out. If it rains, you got to put it out again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And try to, like Nellie said in one of those, there are other things that deer won't eat. So if you added a few things in there that deer don't like,
mix it with
maybe
the artemisia or something.
Yeah.
Or the alternative always, of course, is to build a fence.
Society garlic is another good one to put out.
Oh yes, and
They
it's
don't-
pretty. That's a pretty little thing.
And it will do good in shade. It's
Yeah, it sure will.
it may not
It sure
bloom that
will.
great, but it'll be pretty.
I like Adam's needle in that shady situation too, and the deer don't like it.
Right, exactly.
So that's another one they don't care about. Let's see. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Oh my goodness. Greg, you're too busy. Greg and Kathy are both. That's just wonderful. They're always harvesting.
Look at that.
The Paula is telling the story of the hydrangea. I have just enough time to tell this. She says that her mother grew it and barely looked at it, and she messes with it and it doesn't respond for her. This is the horticultural concept of benign neglect. You get the plant where it needs to be and you leave it alone. But I will also tell you that it is absolutely true that some places, like I have great love for hydrangeas. Had 3 or 4 of them. One of them still rooted from my grandmother's house, all that kind of stuff. Several other ones around in the garden. And I worried about them, and I messed with them, and yes, they'd get brown spots on them, and I would spray them with a fungicide to help prevent that from happening the next spring, all this kind of stuff. My neighbor basically ran over his with a truck, and they looked absolutely beautiful. They would knock, every time they mowed, all the grass would fly up into the hydrangea hedge. Well, that theoretically gets too dense in there and it doesn't work. Well, it didn't matter. Those plants didn't care. He ignored them entirely. So I know just what you're talking about, Paula. I really do. Limelights are not necessarily harder or easier to grow. They're just different. And so you might want to try a different hydrangea. So that's not a bad idea.
By this time of year, foliage on most hydrangeas, unless you are a fungicide maniac, they're going to start looking pretty bad.
And that's another thing not to compost.
Yeah.
Those leaves, when they fall off, get them off of there. Let them. And I'll tell you the truth. Red maples are doing the same thing. So do dogwoods. And if they do, we call that a premature fall because the dogwood will turn bright red and drop its leaves now instead of waiting until October when we would want it to do that. It is a prescription to spray in the springtime to help alleviate the problem with the fungus next year. But right now, the main thing to do is keep the garden clean.
My premature fall is happening on my mulberry
Oh, yeah, can do that.
and my young buckeyes.
Oh, well, I'm not surprised at that either.
Yes.
It was dry just long enough to get them to think it was going to be autumn.
Yeah, so there's
that's
already
true.
this nice golden color, back by the pool.
We talk about fall color, but unfortunately it's in August.
I know, right?
It's lovely, but not quite
Yeah,
too
a little
early.
early.
Okay, folks, we've got some winners on this book. I think let's see if I found them all. I think I've got everybody. I have Kenneth, and I have Pam, and there's one more person who I will find here in just a second. Walt, I did not hear back from you, so I don't know if you're still there, but I will get the third one. Anyway, y'all, it'll be like 6 weeks before you get the book because they're going to send them from the publisher, so just be patient. It takes a while to do that. We tried mixing lantana with the hostas, and it didn't help. I'm surprised that there was enough sunlight for the lantanas. Someone else earlier suggested that it might be a different lantana critter. Which one? Oh, I missed it. I've lost it. But yes, there can be mites, and there can also be lacewings on there.
Nice
for
ones,
sure.
yes.
Yeah, they're a problem.
And I'm not
They can
even
be a
I'm not
problem.
even going to say the W word because I haven't seen any yet.
Okay, don't.
I won't.
Leave that one off. We'll talk about that another time.
They're all going to be wondering what's he talking about.
I know, that's it. Gets them to
That's the
send you
fun
an
part
email.
about it, right?
And his email is I'm mamaonair@yahoo.com. So that's all good. Now, one of the things that we have not talked about today is really the hard part of change. And we're talking about change going into the next piece of the garden, the next time, the next phase, the next season. People will tell you we don't have seasons here, but we do. They're just a little bit different. And one of the things that I said earlier is that today's International Cat Day, but I didn't manage to get my cat pictures up here, so next week we'll get cat pictures up. Mark's going to be real busy. If you want stuff to do, done in your garden, or you want some advice about it, by all means get in touch with him. I don't know how to tell y'all this, but there are more than 24 million people that play pickleball.
Wow.
I know there's that many that garden. I'm so glad I don't have to do a pickleball broadcast. I don't know what I would say. I really don't. For those of you who are pickleball fans, you can send me a note and tell me what I should say. But
Then here's one I've got. I'd love to
yes,
share.
please.
If anybody has watched any news at all in the last week, next year, grow your own lettuce.
No, we're starting.
Grow
now.
your own jalapenos
Yeah.
and cook at home.
And we're going to
That's
tell
all
you
I-
how to do all of the, the
That's all
lettuce
I'm
we've
gonna
already
say
started.
about that.
We're going to wait on jalapenos. I'm going to let you and Eddie take that and go through the fall and then into the spring for jalapenos. But if we are not doing that, if we're not paying attention to where our food comes from, it's as dangerous as anything can be. And I've heard so many people say, well, I'm just not going to eat lettuce. No, don't say that.
No.
Quick shout out to our friends at Bob's. Today is Frozen Custard Day. Do you know the difference between frozen custard and ice cream, other than the fact that ice cream is thousands of years older in its culture? Egg yolks. More egg yolks.
More egg yolks.
All right, friends. More egg yolks, more love. And, we're going to tell you right now that it's time to say adios, querido hermano. Te amo.
Go Chiefs.
The Garden Mama Show is a production of SuperTalk Mississippi Media. Download past episodes at supertalk.fm and contact Garden Mama anytime at mamaonair@yahoo.com. Thanks for choosing The Garden Mama Show.